Can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in association with sharpbetting.co.uk. I'm delighted to be joined by Owen McKendry and Ra Hogan for the big fight breakdown for the rematch that we are seeing on a Friday, April the 20th in Birmingham. We're, of course, talking about the light heavyweight rematch between Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron. Chops, really looking forward to getting into this one with you. Quite a lot of talking points, a whole lot of narrative from their first fight back in October as well on the Beterbiev Bivol undercard. Yeah, so if you're watching this, guys, please do stick around, drop in. We've got plenty of talking points to go over, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it as well. We may as well get into it, guys. As I said, thanks very much for joining me. Ra, I'll come to you first. The first question I want to ask both of you, I'll come to you straight after one. But Ra, first and foremost, I know this is the big fight breakdown for the rematch, but rewind your mind back to the first fight in October. Controversial ending, injury, call it what you will. Do you believe in your heart of hearts that Ben Whittaker quit?
Well, who's to say what counts as quitting in this day and age of yeah, I mean, do I think he quit? Would you class looking for a way out as quitting? I think yes, by the standards that I followed boxing in growing up, yes. So I would say yes. And certainly from some of the evidence of what other observers say they saw and heard, said to Whittaker at the time, I'm inclined to think yes, he did look for that way out.
Interesting, interesting. Owen, do you share the same sentiments as Ra there? Do you believe that he was looking a way out, or do you think it was a genuine, unfortunate, unlikely injury?
Mm, he quit, let's be honest. He weren't making a dent in Liam Cameron. His punches weren't pushing him back, punches weren't holding him off. And Liam Cameron got early success. The fight was only going one way. I think Liam Cameron didn't respect Ben Whittaker's power and strength at all. At times Cameron just almost just sort of stood there like that, took what Whittaker had, and then threw three or four back. And I think he was landing more telling shots. Whittaker knew it was a big loss. The amount of talking he'd done, the putting down of Liam Cameron, and talking about money, his life, etc. So he looked for a way out, and he found the way out. It went from, is it a back injury? Is it an ankle? Is it his leg? What is it? Um, they both went out the same way. One of them was fine, one of them wasn't. You do the maths. The one who was fine wanted to carry on. The one who wasn't wanted to quit. So the fight was going one way. Leon Cameron was going to win that. I don't know if it would have stopped him, but I think Leon Cameron was going to run away with it on points. And yeah, Ben Whittaker quit.
Interesting. I think the point you made there about the injuries thing, that's kind of where you're sitting going. It's a bit
Mm.
suspect. You know, like you can't define, 1 minute, as you said, 1 minute it was a back injury, 1 minute it was a different type of injury. Like if you are going to make up, I'm not saying he did, might be 100% true, but if you're going to make up a story, like stick to the same one. You know what I mean? Yeah, like who are the three of us to sit here and call prize fighters quitters? You know what I mean? But again, what you've said, Ra, I think like by the letter of the law, maybe yeah, he did quit. Whether or not it's just that he was looking for a way out because he thought, you know what, this isn't. I don't want to be here right now. Um, yeah, interesting. I think maybe a controversial one to begin with, but yeah, let us know what you think as well in the comments, guys, because it's a still a hot topic of debate, and I'm sure it will be in the lead up to the fight, in the press conferences and all as well. Second question, I'll come straight back to you, and the reason I'm asking you this, obviously you said it kind of looked like the fight was going one way. It wasn't as if it was a shutout for Liam Cameron, but it looked like he had the momentum at that moment in time when it was stopped. It was going to go his way. The likelihood was, it looked like he was probably going to go on to win the fight. But I'm kind of asking you right now, would a Liam Cameron win actually surprise you here? And the reason I'm asking you is because the bookies have him as still quite a big underdog.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. I do think we're going to see a completely different Ben Whittaker. Even in the sort of like the launch press conference, he was a lot more laid back. He was sat eating his pasta. He's trying to do something to show he's a bit of a showman. or just to try and unnerve Leon Cameron. But I think Cameron's coming into it a lot more confident now. He's felt Whittaker's power. Like I say, just for the record, I think we will see a completely different Ben Whittaker in there. I think we'll see him a lot more. I don't know what the right word is, but I think we'll see a lot less flashy stuff, and I think we'll see a lot more boxing. But as I say, Leon Cameron's felt the power. He's probably going to take the fight to Ben Whittaker early doors as well, just to see what he's got in him. Stick it on him again, and see if Ben Whittaker does belong at a higher level. So yeah, I think the bookies have made the price very decent to put Leon Cameron definitely in an ACCA on the night. Ben Whittaker's always going to be favourite, but I don't think you can really write Leon Cameron off. It may have been an off night for Ben Whittaker, but I just think he's felt the power. He knows what Ben Whittaker can do, and it'll be more of a chess match this time.
Interesting, interesting. And Ra, same question to you. Without giving a prediction away, we'll come on to that at the end, of course. Would a Liam Cameron win surprise you or not at all?
No, no, I don't think it'd be a surprise. Um, yes, Ben Whittaker should still be a slight favourite with the bookies, but only slightly. So I wouldn't class a Liam Cameron win as being a surprise per se.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. I for one agree. I don't, as you said, it wouldn't money to be made. If you do like the wager on the boxing, then there's definitely money to be made if you're backing Liam Cameron at this moment in time. Obviously, might get shorter close into the fight, but yeah, interesting. Kind of want to ask about the British landscape. Uh, in the light heavyweight scene right now, you've obviously got like at the very top, you would probably say, Callum Smith after his win against Buatsi. You've got Anthony Yard, who's fighting Lyndon Arthur. It'll be what 6 days after this on the Eubank Junior Ben undercard. Got Joshua Buatsi, who's just been beaten by Callum Smith. Got a few other names below them. They're probably the three best. But in terms of British opponents, Ra, I'll come back to you. Um, is there any names that jump out? Do you think, yeah, I'd like to see the winner of this fight, then fight them as another natural progressive step?
Yeah, I think the winner of the All Queensbury showdown that was bubbling over nicely last night, Louis Edmondson against Ezra Taylor. If Liam Cameron wins, of course it's an in-house fight for Queensbury. They can make that towards autumn, depending on when the Edmondson v Taylor fight takes place. Yeah, that'd be a great fight. Whichever combination of those three fighters you get. Whittaker as well. He infamously said he thinks he can win the British title. What was it in 5 fights or 1 fight? Something Audley Harrison also said. I remember all them years ago off the back of his Olympic victory. So the British title isn't something an amateur star should disrespect. At their peril that way. So yeah, if either one of them, I'd like to see them go for the British title next. Yeah, it'd be a fantastic fight, any of those combos. But I don't think if Whittaker does win, and when we come to the predictions, I'll tell you why. It's not a direction I see him going at all.
Interesting, interesting. What are your thoughts, Owen, in terms of the British landscape and what you want to see the winner of this fight, who you might fight next?
I see where Rao's coming from. I was thinking more of maybe a Zach Parker, who's just stepped up to light heavyweight. He's only had one fight, obviously, up at light heavyweight now against Mikael Diallo. He got a nasty cut. Obviously, I was there at ringside in Manchester, and he did get roughed up a little bit. So I think that'd be a good fight to make. Maybe Willie Hutchinson, on the back of a loss to Joshua Buatsi. Would he be game to go in another all British fight? Possibly. I think Ben Whittaker, depending on how he comes through this, we'll see what level he's at. Leon Cameron, if he comes and wins this, he deserves a bigger fight as possible. I think they're still a fair step away from the likes of, like Callum Smith, Buatsi, Yard, etc. But for me, I think Zach Parker would be a good fight. Another easy Queensbury matchup again if it's Leon Cameron, but especially if it's Ben Whittaker. He's fresh up at the weight, so let's see that one.
Another one I'll add, and it's only just because it's in my head after being at the Crocker Donovan show, Craig Richards. That could be maybe another name at light heavyweight on the British scene. Obviously he ended up stopping Paddy McCrory in 8 rounds, I believe. Look, Decent kind of controlled that fight, and he's a name. Craig Richards obviously has that defeat to Willie Hutchinson, so if you're kind of maybe putting him just below Willie Hutchinson, is that a natural progression? Could be another name. Basically what we're saying here is there are plenty of opponents out there in the British light heavyweight scene, and it makes sense. Any of the ones we've mentioned, really, you can kind of make a case for, so to speak. Guys, we're coming near the end of the video, but before we come on to our predictions for Whittaker Cameron 2, I just want to ask, cast your mind forward however many years it is. Do you believe, and this might be a difficult question to ask considering we don't know what happens on April 20th here, but do you believe Ben Whittaker has what it takes to become a world champion going forward, Owen?
Um, he's probably got the ability to, but whilst David Benavidez and Dimitri Bivol are still around, Ben Whittaker's never getting near either of those pairs' levels. So if they stick around at the weight, Bivol, they're still got long careers ahead of them, Bivol and Benavidez. So if they choose to stay at light heavyweight, Ben Whittaker ain't getting near a world title. I think if he's still around once them two have gone, then possibly. But with the current landscape, even looking sort of 3, 4, 5 years into the future, he's probably got the ability to. But I think I said when he first come on the scene, he probably will win a world title as well. By default, he could probably win the IBO whilst these two are around, but they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So for me, it'd be a late charge for Ben Whittaker to get a world title.
Interesting, interesting. What about you, Ra? World champion or not, Ben Whittaker?
See, I'm not even sold on his ability. I always thought that sort of low-handed reflex-based style, it can only be successful if you've got tremendous punching power to serve as a deterrent, as Nassim Hamed and Roy Jones Jr. demonstrated in their prime. There is one example of a fighter who didn't have punching power and that similar style, and that was Pernell Whitaker, the great Pernell Whitaker. But he had a tremendous ring IQ, and he was fully on board with the fact that he had no punching power. So his defensive side was always sort of absolutely spot on. He wasn't just about showboating. But at those heavier weight classes, the much bigger men, I think it's a different story. Unless there's a lot in his locker that he hasn't shown us yet for various reasons, I'm inclined to think no, unless his career is maneuvered very carefully, as you said, for the next 3 or 4 years until a few of the danger men have, say, moved on. Which can be done. We've seen other fighters get their careers managed that well. But if you're talking about in terms of moving through the levels the normal way, no. I think he's already quite far behind his old Olympic rivals, for example. Imam Katayev, he's looking quite poised to take over from his compatriot Beterbiev, for example, in that same sort of beast mode. Whereas Whittaker, as Naz pointed out, he's struggling to get area level fighters out.
Yeah, definitely. And when you compare it to, well, look at what Keyshawn Davis was the same Olympics, wasn't he?
Mhm.
And look at him now. He's one of the best lightweights in the world. So yeah, he got a world title already. But yeah, anyway, that's the story. It's a different video. We have come on to our predictions just before we round off. Ben Whittaker, Liam Cameron 2. I'm not going to go first. I want to hear what you two have to say first. So I'll go back to you, Ra. The floor is yours. How does the rematch go on April 20th?
As I said, I do think he looked for a way out to give him that sort of second chance to work out how to deal with this situation that he didn't know how to deal with. That is someone not mesmerized by all of his moves and one who he can't put a dent in. I think he will put on a quite negative sort of performance, safety first, and get a decision, possibly controversial. But yeah, I'm going to go with a Ben Whittaker uninspiring points win.
Interesting, interesting. Are you leveling up the scores, Owen? Are you going Cameron or are you agreeing with Ra?
Um, Originally, I was going with Leon Cameron, but I'm going to take Ra's points on board and add a little extra to that and state that I believe Ben Whittaker will end up being gifted a points decision that he doesn't necessarily deserve um, as the hometown fighter. Because Leon Cameron, if he loses this but performs well, he will always come again. It's a much bigger risk and reward for Ben Whittaker. If Ben Whittaker loses, it's serious questions of, how far away from British title level is he now? He's got to go back to fighting, journeyman and area level guys to try and get through back to those levels. It's a big setback, whereas Leon Cameron will come again. So I believe Ben Whittaker will get gifted a nitty gritty, very untidy points decision that Leon Cameron should have won.
Interesting. Big call, big call. Um, I'm agreeing with the result with you guys. I think it'll go the distance. I can't see any way this fight really ends inside the distance, to be honest. Either way, I'm going with Ben Whittaker. I do think he is the classier fighter. I think, don't know what happened. You can't predict. Can't really put my finger on what happened that first fight. I do believe he is better than Liam Cameron. That's not don't no disrespect to Liam Cameron, but I do think he is a certain level. But could he be Ben Whittaker's kryptonite? Who knows? I mean, I hope it's a good fight, but I do fear, like what you've said, Ra. I fear it could maybe be a bit of a boring affair. I hope we're wrong. I hope it's a fight of the year contender, but yeah, I'm going Ben Whittaker as well to win on points. But guys, that's all we've got time for. Really enjoyed breaking that fight down with you. And guys, if you're watching this, please let us know in the comments your thoughts on this fight and how you see it playing out. And as always, please do subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already. We've got all of your boxing needs under one roof. Ra, Owen, pleasure as always, guys, and I'll speak to you again very soon.